Welcome to the Right People, Right Places podcast. I'm your host, Raul Mendoza, and I have the absolute pleasure of having the one, the only, the fisherman recruiter, Matt Miller. He recently joined the team here at Rapido Talent, and man, he's already hitting the ground and getting Rapido results. For those of you who don't know what Rapido is, Rapido means fast in Spanish. And Matt Miller is Rapido when it comes to recruiting and getting results for clients. Matt, it's so good to have you on.
Great to be here.
Muy Rapido.
Muy Rapido. Thanks for having me.
So good, man. So today, what I wanted to do is I wanted to introduce you to Matt Miller. I wanted to have him share his story on how he got into recruiting. I think people's stories on how they actually, the wonderful world of recruiting is always helpful and interesting as well, especially for those that are just coming into the space, to be able to just hear someone's story and hear what they've learned along the way. I know that I've found it really helpful when I've heard people's stories on how they entered into recruitment, and it's typically not a traditional pathway into recruiting. You don't go to school for this, Matt. Did you go to school for being a recruiter?
No, I did not.
You went to the school of the hard knocks, is what happens.
I think I did, yeah.
We're going to hear more about that. We're going to hear about his story, just how he got into it, and how our stories actually come together and intertwine throughout the years. We've known each other for the last 20 years and have worked together in different capacities at different companies, doing some great things, learning some great things, but bringing some fantastic results for a lot of great companies. And we've seen how not to do it and how to do it. And I think as you listen to this episode, you'll find nuggets of insight and tactics and strategies that may help you as you're engaging in your recruitment for your company or for your own recruiting company. I think there's going to be nuggets of gold and truth that will help you on your way to being the right people, right places recruiter. Does that even make sense? It doesn't, but you know what? We're just going to roll with it. So without further ado, Mr. Miller, the Miller Man, the fisherman recruiter. So many. Yeah, we were actually talking about having him bring a fishing rod, but you know what? He's got his camo fleece. That's even better.
Yeah.
So, yeah, without further ado, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into recruiting, you know, how we met, and how our stories have come in basically intertwined, and here we are now. But let's start where it all began.
Yeah, I come from a background of sales and then had to have surgery. And then during my rehab from surgery, I was asked by my father, who worked at an engineering consulting company, if I'd be just open to coming in and basically diving into the ATS and cleaning up contact information so that I had something to do while I was rehabbing. And actually, that's where I met you.
That's right.
For the first time. The owner heard me talking on the phone and made a suggestion that maybe I try recruiting full time. And I said, oh no, I'm not interested in recruiting. I just want to do sales. And then one of our other colleagues, Christian, said, he's like, Matt, recruiting is sales in a way. And I think you'd be really good at it. I took a crack at it and started working with Raul. And that's how the whole story starts with Raul and I, man. We got to dominate a few searches at Impact Engineering together, looking for Pro-E and SolidWorks designers and engineers.
That's where I learned to be a technical recruiter, was at Impact Engineering, actually. Yeah. And Matt Miller's dad, Tom Miller, was the operations director there, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
And he was just a fantastic guy. I learned so much from Tom. One of the things that I know he taught me was to make deposits before making withdrawals when it comes to recruiting top talent. And what does that mean? It means you're making deposits in the form of follow-up, in the form of sharing about the opportunity, in the form of listening and active listening, not just pitching a position, but really understanding where a candidate's coming from, understanding their situation, their life circumstances, what their hopes, dreams, and desires are. And as you're making these deposits, you can begin to respectfully make withdrawals and actually move someone through a process and get an opportunity that they maybe have been dreaming of. And I think that principle goes for not only recruiting, but actually just in life. and
Yeah.
building relationships, with which this podcast is all about relationship and how it powers business, it powers technology, it powers the ever-changing world of work. Relationship, it doesn't matter how much technology advances, it's all going to come back to this. And I would say that's one of the things that your dad really taught me, was just the importance of relationship and making those deposits first. And it's helped my marriage. And I'm sure you probably even have more stories in that respect, not only from Tom, but Christian and others that have brought you along on the path of recruiting, and just even your own learnings. But yeah, no, that was a great time back then. Impact engineering, that was where we cut our teeth in technical recruiting and learned the way.
And we still have friends from then.
Yep.
From that time, we still have friends that we talk to and still work with.
Totally. Yep. That's, again, it's all about relationship. Where did your journey take you from Impact to other areas? And obviously, being at Impact, that was your first experience in recruitment where you began to really dive into this interesting space and realizing, oh, great, sales. This is sales. And it's recruiting is sales, and it's also building relationships. Where did your adventure in recruitment take you from there?
Made a relationship with a friend of ours, Christian, Tim. And similar to you, Christian started off on his own venture, and he ended up getting 2 very good clients in the power electronics space. And he basically asked me to leave Impact Engineering and come work for him. So I went from technical recruiting for what I now consider like a simple search for a mechanical engineer to like really diving into cutting edge engineering, electrical engineering, controls engineering, and went that direction for a while. And that opened up a whole new world to me, because it was on site, working at Fortune 500 companies on site, being a part of their talent team, their HR team, and learned how to work with engineering managers that were, I can tell you many times when I would share a resume with an engineering manager and he'd throw it right back in my face. Like, did you even talk to this person? I don't know where I'm going with this, by the way, but
That's okay.
we can cut maybe right there and start over, but let me start back.
Yeah, no, you're doing well. That was cool.
It was?
Yeah, it was. I would say just keep going with that, and
I'm getting off track.
No, I think it's fine, because
okay.
you can share with that. You can share what you learned from that process of working with engineering managers and their
Yeah,
needs.
let me start there.
Yep.
Yeah, so working with Christian gave me the opportunity to go on site with some very large, respected manufacturers in the power electronics industry, and learned very quickly that engineering managers are very busy. They don't have time to sift through resumes, and especially resumes that don't match their technical requirements. So I learned really quick that before I'm going to share a resume with an engineering manager, it better be on par. It better be worth the time that I'm taking, because I've had numerous times where this guy, Matt Zimmer, just tossed a resume right back at me and was angry with me, basically. So that instilled in me that I needed to put in research. I needed to understand the company that I was recruiting for.
Yep.
I needed to understand what made them an attractive company to other engineers. And then I also had to make sure that I was targeting the right talent and not just going off of keywords, but really understanding what an engineer does, and does it apply to what my client does.
That's gold. What Matt Miller just said there is gold. I think you apply that skill, you apply that approach to any of your recruitment, and not only are you going to attract top talent, but you're also going to build partnerships with, whether if you're an internal recruiter, you're going to build partnerships with internal stakeholders, because they're going to see that you're getting into their world. You're understanding the product. You're understanding what their team is building. You're getting into their operating reality, essentially. And you're not just flinging resumes, because that's just it. That's what, unfortunately, the vast majority of recruiters do nowadays, isn't it? Like, they are just doing keyword searches. But I think what separates a good recruiter from a great recruiter is just what you shared. It's actually getting excited about what they're getting excited about, geeking out about the technology they're geeking out about.
Geeking out. I actually take it personally. Almost, if I submit somebody and the manager is not interested, I'm like, what? How did I miss on that? That does not make me happy. Thank you, Matt Zimmer.
Shout out to you, Matt Zimmer. You made a tremendous recruiter in Matt Miller in this. And I think there's just so much there in what you're sharing, Matt. I think there's not only building partnerships with companies and hiring managers and or stakeholders if you're an internal recruiter, and how you do that. You get into their world, understanding their business, and telling that story. That's what actually gives you the sound bites for your story, right?
Yeah. No. Being able to tell a story, I think I learned that from Christian Tim. He was a master at telling the story. And I learned that back from our days. I don't know, can I mention company names or no?
You can mention, yeah. Which company you think?
Danfoss.
I probably wouldn't mention them, just in case they become a client.
Yeah.
Cut that out.
We'll cut Danfoss out, please. Yeah. What were we talking about?
We were talking about telling the story.
Yeah. Should we call Christian Tim out?
You can call Christian Tim out, yeah.
Yeah.
Matt Zimmer is fine, too.
He's passed.
Yeah.
But he's definitely someone I think about a lot. But no, Christian Tim, he was the first one that I guess sold me on telling the story. And like the emails that this guy would put together that were going out to prospective candidates, I was amazed at the detail that was in his outgoing messaging.
Wow.
And I adopted that, and I've made it my own. Thanks to Christian Tim for the training on that, because I tell you what, I still get engineers asking me sometimes if I'm an engineer, and that's pretty cool. Not a very good engineer, but...
But still, again, that's just it, right? I think it starts with what we talked about earlier, this idea of getting into the operating reality of that you're serving, the hiring manager that you're serving. So getting into their reality, but then what that does, it gives you ammunition for a story, for how to actually engage and attract that talent that you're looking to acquire for your client or for your hiring manager.
Yeah.
So I think, and that's not just telling the story over the phone. I'm sure Matt would agree here that recruiting, cold calling isn't dead in terms of actually, not yet. But again, all this getting into the operating reality, being able to have ammunition to tell the story, engaging talent, then that comes in various mediums of email and sharing targeted or sending targeted, customized messaging to the candidates that you're looking to attract. That's a skill. Like, can AI help you with that? Maybe. But that's just it. Like, you need to care about it and you need to take it personally. I think that's the thing that I want to highlight from you. Matt takes it personal. Like, he took it personal when that hiring manager didn't accept his resume product. We have to take it personal. At the end of the day, there's no amount of ChatGPT that is going to help you craft a personalized message. That has to come from you. You can get some ideas from AI and ChatGPT, but man, you better make that your own.
I agree. Yeah, definitely got to make it your own. And people are smart. They can tell if they're receiving a message that's going out to 100 people and it's the same message, especially if you're targeting the people, multiple people at the same company and they get the same message. That's embarrassing. I've seen that happen before. And it is embarrassing.
Yeah.
So yeah, like looking at someone's profile, maybe even like looking them up on Facebook, seeing what they like. You can put that into your message and it's more personalized. I think it's more effective.
Totally. I just even want to say one thing that I've learned from Matt that I think he does so well as a recruiter, and maybe you want to speak to this as well, Matt, is Matt has various interests. Like he loves the North Woods. He lives in Slinger, Wisconsin, and he loves fishing. He loves camping, and he has a way of getting these things into conversation with candidates that he speaks with. He shares about those things that he's interested in or asks questions, and that builds rapport and relationship. Tell us how you do that. Like, what are the mechanics of that?
I think it's having I do have a genuine interest in people, and I do have a genuine interest in potentially introducing an opportunity that could either get them more money or maybe get them into a new technology that they're interested in getting into and helping somebody with that. And it is, like, I just had a conversation with an engineer, found out that he had chickens and that he farms them. And I said, wow, I'm really interested in eating food where I know where it comes from as well. And after a 45-minute intro call / phone screen, I made an arrangement to go to his farm and pick up some chickens.
There you go.
So I got chickens from this guy now.
I love it. I love it. If you want to, I think the thing I want to highlight there is if you want to be in recruiting, you have to be genuinely interested in people and helping people.
So.
I think you and I have been doing this now for over 20 years. It's hard, and especially there's so much noise now with everybody. The market's so saturated. So how do you separate yourself from other recruiters that are trying to send DMs and connect with talent out there? I think it's being genuinely interested and actually connecting with them on a personal level with those things that interest you, finding out what interests them, and also asking questions and being genuinely interested in them. I think it sounds very fundamental and common sense, but I think we've gotten away from that. And I think it's good to be reminded of that, especially in a time where we have so much technology at our fingertips. These things aren't the difference maker. We are the difference maker. Matt Miller, the fisherman recruiter, is the difference maker. Raul Mendoza,
the recruiter rapper.
And I think it's interesting. That kind of gets me going a little bit. I'm inspired by that because in going out on my own and starting Rapido Talent and even bringing Matt Miller on, I thought one of the things that I think is important to be a company that stands apart from other organizations is every recruiter has their own interest and has their own things that they like to do. Matt likes to fish, so let's do the fisherman recruiter. I like to rap. I love the expression. I love the art form. I like building beats. Why can't we make that a part of our approach in how we connect with talent? And I think it's proven effective in generating curiosity and engagement with people. But then also, we're just out there. We've got nothing to hide, right, Matt? It's out there.
Yeah, some people find my profile weird, and some people love it. The ones that find it weird, then whatever.
Totally. Not everyone's going to resonate, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what it's all about. I think that's such a great lesson and a great thing to pull out here from this conversation. So let's keep going. Let's talk about entrepreneurship. And you and I have had the tremendous opportunity of kind of being at the ground level with a few great companies.
Impact was awesome.
Yeah, Impact was, gosh, what an incredible company, what they were doing. But then let's talk about that entrepreneurial journey and even just learnings within that, because I think another thing that makes a recruiter great is having that entrepreneurial growth mindset. I think what separates an employee from an entrepreneur is, in many cases, or a typical employee from an entrepreneur, is an entrepreneur takes ownership for their growth and for the results, either for the great results or for the lack thereof. Whereas as an employee, you're hired to do a job. And so you own your job, but that's as far as it goes. As an entrepreneurially minded recruiter, you're not only owning the work, you're owning the result, and you're owning the future as well. So I want to talk a little bit about that, because I think you've had a unique experience in being able to be in a lot of entrepreneurial type environments with Impact, with Christian in his launch of his recruiting company. And then I know you and I share a history with having joined Titus many years ago now and being at the ground level. I just want to hear a little bit about that. What are some of the lessons that you've learned about entrepreneurship and that you'd like to pass along to those that are listening, and how that maybe relates to being a great recruiter and excelling in those ways, whether it's a mindset, whether it's if there's strategies within that, or just different perspectives you might have?
I probably learned the most at Titus, and it was 12 years for me. And what I take away from that is my biggest lessons learned there are just owning the work, because you are responsible for that. You have weekly updates with clients, and the worst feeling ever was going into an update with a client and you had nothing to talk about. Learning that every update, you had to have something powerful to share. And I learned that basically just being a servant.
Love that.
Being a servant and just doing your best, working hard, trying to put everything else out of your mind and just focusing on working hard, being a servant to whether it was my manager at Titus and also my client. I just wanted to make them happy. And I would say if you could keep that mentality of understanding who your clients are, whether it's your manager, having a servant-minded attitude towards them, and just working really hard for them, and hopefully they recognize it and appreciate it. If not, at least in your heart that you did your best.
That's right. I love that. That's so good. I think the idea of servanthood and having that kind of servant mentality in serving our clients, serving the business, I think it's like one of those ideas that with leadership, we can almost gloss over because we hear it in so many different forms and ways. Familiarity breeds contempt, right? It can turn off when we hear familiar ideas, but the truth is that these familiar ideas are crucial to building business, being successful. And you hear servant leadership talked about over and over again, but that's what it's about. It's about putting the customer first. Like you said, who your customer is, your manager, is your hiring manager. Who is your customer is a business unit, a division. I think we can forget that. You might have a manager that's over you, but really the ones that care about the results as a recruiter is the business. You won't be doing too well with your manager if you're not doing well with the business. But it's good to think about these foundational, fundamental ideas because I think we can miss it, right? And then when we think about servanthood, what does that mean? It means, it means putting our ideas aside. I think so many times, you and I, Matt, right now, we're working with clients where we're trying to get fills because that's what matters. But we have some clients that don't care about that necessarily. They care about an experience. They care about us partnering with them, solving problems for them in their interview process and bringing those things on a weekly basis and helping them actually run their internal process for various recruitment to enhance their ability to be strategic with the business. Now, I'm not downplaying, that's important, but there's much more to recruitment than just filling positions, and I know you would agree.
You have to dedicate time to research. You have to dedicate time to the sourcing. And then you have to dedicate time to creating messaging that's personalized and going to be effective. And then basically where I can say I'm a servant is understanding that a lot of people can't work during the day, so I'll make myself available at night. Especially if I feel like I need to make something happen quick, I'm going to even work on weekends and make myself available. Recruiting's hard. You got to be a servant to make it happen.
Totally. I love that. That right there, my friends, what you just heard, I hope you're taking notes.
I hope they are taking notes.
And if you're not taking notes, you better replay
I could use
that.
the notes. I forget.
We both forget. We're getting old. We've been doing this a long time. Right? Man, that is just gold. What you just said right there, I think that right there, what you said, is a recipe for successful recruitment right there. Understanding the company, understanding the business, understanding who you're serving, and then working extremely hard to deliver on that which you set out to do and doing what it takes. If it's weekends, if it's after normal business hours, we serve the customer. In a lot of ways, the candidate is the customer. They're not available during normal business hours because they're top talent getting results for their company. So how can we as the recruiter provide a service to them and be helpful to them? We're going to talk to them after hours, right? And the beauty of recruitment too is it's not a typical 9 to 5. You can work things around, right, and make it happen. But I think that's where we work hard and we work smart, right? And we move things around and make it happen. So I just think just put a pin in that. Like that's going to be probably a short that I listen to personally over and over again. Matt's, Raul, you're just ridiculous. And I'm like, you're right, Matt. And I'm glad you're on my team. Anyway.
You're not ridiculous.
Okay, thank you. But yeah, let's bring it to a close here. This won't be the last time we do this. We're going to be doing this more often. I just think Matt brings tremendous value and experience, and I know that he's going to be able to help not only our clients and those that we work with to fill positions, but I know he can help many in the recruiting community with the tools that they need to be successful, and he's also got a passion for helping candidates find the right place. That is one of the passions of his heart. It's something that's come out in conversations that we've had, and obviously you hear it, right? He said servanthood. He serves his customers, he serves candidates, and he serves clients. That's what he's passionate about. But as we just wrap this up, Matt, anything that you would want to share with the audience about any kind of last thoughts on any other pieces that make a recruiter successful? Any characteristics, any strategies, any tactics that you think are just indispensable that you would want to pass along? Already what you shared has been, there's enough there to study, but I don't know if there's anything that comes to mind.
Maybe just surround yourself with people that have the same values and mindset. One of the reasons I even joined up with you, Raul, is because we have the same passions. We have the same mindset. We both have a servant-minded, and we both trust in God that He's going to take care of us.
Yeah.
And so I think surrounding yourself with like-minded people that want to support you, help grow you, celebrate wins with you, and want to win. Those are the people that you want to work with. And man, you can build strong relationships and teams around that.
That's fantastic. That's the mic drop right there. Values, so good. I don't even want to comment on that because I think there's not anything else to say. It is about values. It is about having that alignment when you're building something. I couldn't have said it better myself. I know I find it an absolute privilege and honor just to have Matt on my team. We've been at this now a few months, and we've done some incredible stuff together in just a short period of time. And it's because of these values of servanthood and working hard, and we believe in God, and we're praying people. I shared in other episodes that I don't know how people do business without prayer or having a relationship with God. It requires faith to do this, but it also requires a team. And I'm thankful, as someone that's been on this journey for a while now, to have a partner like Matt on this journey. And I've learned a lot about the importance of being in team. This has been great. But yep, nothing more to say there. But stay tuned for more episodes. The Fisherman Recruiter and Raul Mendoza, the Recruiter Rapper, as we wrap recruiting, as we talk about fishing for top talent. There's going to be more. There's more things in the works that I'm excited to share, but I won't share. We'll just leave a little teaser there. Things that we're looking to develop and grow, and that Matt and I have been scheming up to bring value to the recruiting community, to bring value to top talent in the market, and to bring value to our customers and clients and future customers and clients. So stay tuned for more of that, and stay tuned to more episodes of the Right People and the Right Places podcast. And that's all we have for you today. Go make it happen. Peace.